Years later, people still assume the marriage ended because of one dramatic fight. There wasn't one. No broken dishes, no affair discovered at midnight, no screaming in parking lots. If I had to identify the moment things became irreversible, it would probably disappoint people. It happened while someone passed bread. That Christmas dinner gets clearer in memory instead of softer. I think that's because it explained things I had been trying not to understand for years. Her family believed deeply in harmony. Not honesty, harmony, those are different skills. Harmony meant smoothing over discomfort quickly, redirecting tension, keeping gatherings functional and pleasant at almost any cost. Eventually, every family chooses where discomfort goes. In theirs, it settled onto me. Not all at once, slowly enough that I participated in it too. I was quieter than them naturally. I needed more recovery after work. I disliked being interrupted and had the bad habit of trying to explain myself precisely when emotional conversations became vague. Those qualities are manageable inside a marriage if both people remain curious about each other. Less manageable once one person begins narrating the other publicly. My wife started small. You know how he gets when he's stressed. He doesn't mean it personally. He overthinks things. The comment sounded protective at first, even affectionate sometimes. Over the years, though, her family stopped interacting directly with me and started interacting with her interpretation of me. That distinction matters more than people realize. By the final years of the marriage, I had become predictable inside the family system before I even entered the room. If I stayed quiet, I was withdrawn. If I contributed strongly to conversation, I was intense. If I disagreed, I was sensitive. Eventually, you begin monitoring yourself constantly around people who have already decided what your emotions mean before you express them. The strange part is that I still loved her through most of it. That complicates the memory. She wasn't cruel. Not fundamentally. She became careless in the way people sometimes do when they stop seeing someone as separate from the role they occupy in shared stories. The Christmas dinner itself was ordinary. Too ordinary, honestly. Her mother overcooked the carrots slightly. One nephew cried because another child touched his new toy. Her oldest brother drank too quickly and repeated stories halfway through telling them normal family noise. I remember feeling tired before dinner even started. That morning, I had met with a lawyer for the first time, not because of one specific incident, more because I had started recognizing myself less and less inside my own life. The lawyer asked practical questions with terrifying calmness: assets, timelines, living arrangements. At one point, she asked, "What finally made you schedule this meeting?" I remember struggling to answer. Nothing had happened recently. That was the problem. I said, "I think I've been disappearing slowly for years." Back at dinner, conversation moved easily around me most of the evening. I'd become good at occupying little emotional space. Then somebody commented how peaceful Christmas felt this year. My wife laughed softly while passing the breadbasket. "Well," she said, "he's always been the difficult one. No malice." That's important. She said it the way people mention weather patterns or food preferences. Casual, established. Her mother nodded immediately without looking up. One brother stared down at his plate. Nobody reacted because the statement already belonged to the family mythology. I remember waiting instinctively for someone to object, not defend me dramatically. Just hesitate, no one did, and strangely. That was the moment everything became calm for me, not painful, clear. I realized then that I had spent years trying to correct what everyone else experienced as settled fact, the difficult one, not the dependable one who handled taxes for her parents every year, not the one organizing hospital paperwork after her father's surgery. Not the one quietly driving home early from work to repair leaking pipes at her mother's house. Those things had become expected enough to disappear. But emotional identities inside families tend to outlive evidence. Later that evening, conversation shifted toward practical matters. Her parents were getting older. There were discussions about future care, finances, eventually downsizing the house. Her oldest brother made some joke about how I'd probably end up managing all the paperwork because I was good with stressful stuff despite pretending not to be. Everyone laughed lightly. Then I said very calmly, "That may need reconsideration." The table quieted slightly. I explained that my wife and I were discussing separation and future responsibilities would probably need restructuring. I still remember the silence afterward. Not dramatic silence. Administrative silence, the sound people make internally when reality forces rapid recalculation. My wife looked at me first with irritation, then confusion, because from her perspective, the marriage still existed in the form most long marriages do, unhappy in familiar ways but fundamentally permanent. I don't think she understood that I had already emotionally stepped outside it months earlier. Nobody argued publicly after that. Her mother changed the subject eventually. Dessert arrived, children kept playing in the next room. But something had shifted permanently because for the first time, the difficult one stopped cooperating with the role assigned to him. We separated quietly 8 months later. Even now, what stays with me isn't the insult itself. It's how naturally everyone accepted it. That's the danger of repeated narratives inside families. Eventually, people stop asking whether a person is difficult and start organizing reality around the assumption. And once someone becomes a role instead of a person, love has very little room left to survive.